Good afternoon. We appreciate you joining us today for mortgage machine demonstration of the product. It's a special treat, I think, today because we have an individual that's got significant experience with the mortgage machine, one of your peers. So let's get started. First, let me introduce who we've got here today. We have Crystal Stanton, who will be driving the bus and showing you the system. Hello, Crystal. How are you today?
Hi, Dan. I'm doing good.
Good, good. We also have Kara Lamphere, who is an industry veteran, and I'm going to let Kara tell you a little bit about her and her background. Kara, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Dan. So I've been in the financial services industry since I was a teller in college, worked banking, credit unions, and IMBs as well, both mortgage on both sides. I've been in mortgage sales, mortgage ops, mortgage compliance, so I've kind of seen it all. And so that's great. I'm honored to be here today to be able to talk through all of those aspects within the use of mortgage machine. So I appreciate you, Dan and Crystal, for inviting me on today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. I'm just going to give you a quick overview, and then we're going to get started and show you the tool itself. So, mortgage machine is primarily a proprietary built system. We refer to it as an all-in-one solution. The reason that we do is that everything is pretty self-contained. We have plenty of integrations, but it's a little bit different than having a bazillion different vendors and having to interface on every single thing. And we'll touch on and show you some of that as we go. Probably most importantly today, I think what you hopefully will get from this is that the way the system is built and designed, you're going to see where we're going to talk about efficiency. You'll see and Kara will speak to how things are easy to navigate and it's not as cumbersome maybe as some that you might be using today or some that you may have used in the past. We refer to mortgage machine as all in one because you can do everything that you need. As I mentioned a while ago, you can originate a loan. I mean, you can manufacture the process in the beginning, starting out. We do have a point of sale integration with Blend. We're building our own point of sale as well. We have our own pricing capabilities. We have our own documents. We have e-close capability where you can produce for any form of hybrid and/or even an e-note. Ron Technologies involved. We also have an AI-driven doc management system. So what we basically have is something that you can do a lot more with less, and you can put money to the bottom line, which I'll mention at the very end. It's unlikely that you're going to find everything you can get in this system for the cost. So there's a significant benefit to your bottom line as well. So that's an overview. Thank you again very much for joining today. Crystal, if you would, please take it away.
You got it. Let me go ahead and switch my screens. There we go. So this is our home page, and this is what you would see when you first log into Mortgage Machine. Now, the page itself is highly customizable with what we call tabs and banners, and I'm going to review some of these use cases, starting with the top left. So here on the left, you'll see custom tabs built for loan reports, contacts, bulletins, and resources, so those users would have that information at their fingertips. And to the right is an example of custom banners. Here, banners have been built for company updates, system guides, support emails, and on the summary page, you have the ability to build in these hot links for ease of use. Now, as we go down the home page, the next widget on the left will allow you to, of course, pull up the loan by the number, borrower, or address. But if you look to the right, adjacent to that is our recent loans section. Now this is going to display the most recent 8 files that you've accessed. It'll show you the loan number, the borrower's name, the status of the leader loan, as well as any locked information. And we know that our users are constantly maneuvering in and out all day long from their files. So if they do need to click into a previous file, they could go to their recent loans section. Now, if you look at the top, this is a clock that not only shows the current date and time, but you'll want to look at this number in brackets. Now, it's this number where the system is measuring its own efficiency and displaying it for you. And you'll see that as we go through the screens. So here it pulled up my file in 0.4 of a second. It's giving me a high-level summary of all my milestones. And if I need to dive in quicker or deeper into any of the details, I could access that by any of these hot links, or using the top ribbon above. And then without having to remember to write down the name or number of the previous file, I could just go to my recent loans section. Now, this isn't only on the home page, it's located throughout all the milestones of the system. So no matter where your users are, they'll be able to maneuver in and out very efficiently. Going down the page on the left, this is where you'll see your recently visited pages. It's a list of 10. Any that you want to remain at the top, you could simply star and those will stay there. Anything that's unstarred will continue to cycle through as you work through the system. Now on the bottom, this is another example of those custom banners that we saw at the top. Here you'll see they built tabs for processor and underwriter reference, product guides, compliance, turn times. But what I want to call out is that these are fully customizable by you. So you don't have to worry about submitting a ticket or a request every time you need something changed. These can simply be added by your system administrator. So they could add, modify, and remove them based off of your current use cases and trends. So now I'm going to draw your eye to the top ribbon and I'm going to do a high-level overview of some of the system milestones. And I do want to note that the system is access or role based. So on my screen, you're going to see much longer menus because I have full access for today's purposes. And we're going to start with the loan tab. So here you could see where you can import and export your loan data. We do have multiple queues throughout the system. Here you'll see 3 of them with the disclosure queue, QC review, and wholesale review queue. We also have a loan batch feature that allows users to execute key loan actions across hundreds of loans in just minutes. And we're also going to touch on our activity history, and that's going to act like the audit log for your file. Under origination, this is where you could see a summary of your loan, submit to processing, your pricing and lock information, loan fees, QM overview, processor screens, and all your IRLA information is found here. Next, under interfaces, I do want to note that Mortgage Machine is a very self-contained platform. So here you can order appraisals. We have desktop underwriting, early check, LPA, LQA. You can order your credit reports, request disclosures. We're going to touch on our integration with DocMagic as well. Here you can order your flood certs, add MI, as well as activate MI from here. Next, you'll see your underwriting queue and that workflow, your doc prep queue and workflow, post-closing screens, and to finish up the top ribbon, we're also going to touch on some reporting options as well.
So I'm going to jump in here. I've worked in Mortgage Machine roughly 8 years, but I've worked in several other systems as well. And this top ribbon, being able to get to your loans very quickly is a huge deal. And some of the other ones, you know, you've got to keep scrolling through a very small section of screen to find the right form or screen that you want to go to. Unless you do the expensive bolt-ons to those systems where you can do that search function, it comes just organically with the system being able to maneuver. And as she showed you earlier, there's lots of ways to get there, not just in the ribbons. So you had at the top of the screen the links to jump in and out if you wanted to customize those. And those, it's a great way to move through the system very quickly. And then one last point, when she was talking about how quickly the system moves, that 0.4 of a second, if you've been in some of the other systems like I have, you click a screen that you want to go to and you kind of wait for it to get there. And it really tells you how quickly it's getting you from screen to screen. And really, it's very, very quick. So just in my past experience, this is really nice to have both of those features. So I'll turn it back over, Crystal.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of our demo files, and we're going to head over to our pricing and lock screen. Now, from the home page, I mentioned your recent loan section being on all the milestones. So it's this top button on the left where you could access your most recent 8, search by these fields, or even do an advanced search from here. And then here is another example of those custom banners. Now I want to note that these can be added throughout the system on almost any screen, wherever you find a use case. One use case I appreciate is that we've added in these hot links for the most frequently used forms in this section. Now you do have the ability to create custom forms within Mortgage Machine, but using this use case, there's no need for me to go to the forms section. I could simply click on the document I need. The system's going to automatically pull over any information from my file into the applicable fields on my form to alleviate the need of any double typing for information that's already been provided. Now looking to the right of the screen, Here you'll see the 6 preconditions needed to convert your lead to a loan. Now, as the user goes through the system and adds this information, Mortgage Machine will automatically check that off. And after all 6 have been checked, it will alert them it's time to convert their lead to a loan. Below that, you'll see this next side panel, which shows the user the high-level data points of the loan. And this allows them to see this information without having to flip back and forth between screens. And you'll see this panel as we go through the milestones of the system. And again, it's all about creating that efficiency wherever we can to improve the user's experience by decreasing the number of clicks that they need to do. Now, this page itself is a great overview for our operations. It allows the user to see a summary of the borrower's info, the property info, and the loan information all in one place.
And Crystal, I just want to jump in here again. I love this screen for multiple reasons. I mean, it's great from LO all the way through underwriting and closing. It's really just kind of a quick summary of what the file is. But as an executive, when I'm making exception decisions, this is the first screen I come to because it tells such a good story about the whole file that this is my first stop for 2 reasons. One, what she just explained, it gives you the sales price, the LTV, the borrower's FICO, what the loan program is. It's just soup to nuts. And then it also has what she was showing up there, that right-hand panel. I have been in lots of systems, and unless you pay to have the additional information added to the, usually in an upper ribbon, this one just, again, it comes out of the box with all of that data. And it's so helpful when you're trying to make exception decisions to immediately see FICO and DTI and LTV and CLTV and all of that good stuff. So, and again, processors use this, underwriters can use this screen. It's just such a great screen tied to your pricing and lock for usage from start to finish.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kara. So next, we're going to stop over and look at our products and pricing. So here at the bottom, you'll see the products and pricing that are available for our particular demo borrower. Now, we do have our own pricing engine that's powered by AI to automatically ingest and process your daily pricing updates from your configured investors and aggregators. And Dan, did you want to talk more about those pricing options?
Yeah, sure. So what the system does is that when we onboard you, we're going to get a list of all the folks that you sell to. It doesn't make any difference who it is, and it doesn't matter how many it is. We're going to load those in with their various products into the system, and then each day AI will go out and it will retrieve what the daily pricing is for that particular lender that will allow you to make your comparisons. We will, which she'll show you here shortly. We have best execution as well. But the key component here is that it's all available. And when your loan officers come in each day, it's going to be updated pricing to whoever it is that you sell to.
Absolutely. So we'll go ahead and show you that. So as Dan mentioned, once our AI has completed the pricing update, your admin would receive an automated alert to advise that those updates have been successfully completed. But they could go directly into the system to see that. And they could do that from their admin screen by clicking this utility wheel. And then they could go into their product and pricing data profiles. Now here on the left, they would see all their aggregator investor pricing or products. And to the right is where you would see the most recent update. So here you could see today's update with the date and time displayed, and that's displaying in Central Time. So I'm going to take you back to our pricing and lock screen so we could look at some additional features. So here on the left, you could see various filters allowing you to customize your search. You can filter by closest to par or the specific loan rate. And in addition, you could add multiple criteria to compare the different products simultaneously. So for example, here you can see we're looking at a conventional file, but maybe we want to compare conventional versus FHA. We would just make that appropriate selection, update our list, and now you could see it showing me both my conventional and FHA options on the same screen. And the same goes for your terms. So say you want to look at 15 versus 30 year. You would make those selections, update your list, and it's now showing you both your 15 and your 30 all on one screen. So I'm going to go in and select one of these products so we can look at our rate table. So this rate table provides a clear breakdown of how the different rates may affect your borrower's P&I and overall loan costs. On the left, you could see the P&I dollar amounts displayed for each rate option. And to the right, you could see additional columns showing the costs or credit dollar amounts associated with each of those rates within the applicable lock option. Below that, you're going to see the applicable pricing adjustments for those products, and those are already calculated into the rate table above. Now, this option here, this is a hidden pricing adjustments, and it's only available to those users you would give permissions to, such as maybe a branch manager who might want to see the local pricing adjustments for their branch or region. And to see that, they just need to click on that square wheel, and it'll then display that there. So I'm going to pause for a second. Kara, did you want to give any insight on this?
I do. So this, again, I geek out over this pricing and lock functionality, but what's great, and again, lots of levels that this really is beneficial for. Your loan officers do not have to go into a separate pricing engine. They're getting to do it right here in their loan, poke around, move around. It helps with your lock desk or your secondary, whoever handles this for you. They're not having to go into one. And then sometimes, if you've ever seen them, they have to go into one, make a change, then go over to the other, make another change. It's all happening right here in the LOS, which is fantastic. And then this feature here is wonderful. Not only are you seeing the pricing, the discounts and premiums, but you're seeing what that converts to in dollars based on your loan, which is wonderful when you're a loan officer talking. Compliance uses this on our side of the house because sometimes they're trying to figure out maybe a QM, what can we do if you move here and there. This is a great feature. You know, compliance is not as used to working in the VIPS part of life, but they very much are points and fees. So this is just a great tool for many different facets of our business, at least our company. And we love this screen and the functionality that it offers. And then in addition, what she's saying there on the being able to open that out, I've used that a bunch when I'm talking to branch managers and they're struggling with something. I'm like, well, let's look at your LLPAs, man. You've got X amount here, and maybe we need to reconsider what you've got. So this is a really great tool, again, for many facets of a company to use.
Excellent. Thank you, Kara. So I'm going to go back and we're going to look at that Best X feature that Dan mentioned. So let's go back to our pricing and lock screen. So here you could see where the products are available for our particular borrower, but now I'm showing those products that have the Best X group applied to it. So this Best X feature, which allows you to streamline your pricing comparison process. The feature is going to display which investor offers the best price. So for example, if investor A is winning at 6%, but investor B actually has better pricing at 6.5, our pricing feature will transparently break that down for you. So I'm going to click in to the Best X option, which is right below the product there. Now here on the left, you could see all the rates listed. And on the right, it's going to show me the Best X investor for those particular rates. Now, I do want to note, as a lender, you have full control over which products and investors to include in your Best X group. So this can include all your investors or a subsection of them. And it also allows you to customize the access permissions for the different roles, locations, even down to the individual user. So from here, we're going to pop over and talk about our.
Yeah, let me
sure.
let me ask Kara a quick question. Crystal, sorry to interrupt. Mm-hmm. So you've used other pricing engines, you've used other tools for pricing. Is there anything that this tool does not do, Kara, that you need to run the organization that you manage?
No, and I feel like I sound like a paid a paid client here, but I promise I'm not. No, as a matter of fact, when Mortgage Machine was developing this, we had the honor of working with them. And when they finally presented the final product, we were like, man, this has everything based on my prior experiences with the other company. I mean, you can scenario through this, and when you do, you're seeing what happens with your loan. Whereas if you have to go to a separate pricing engine, you're only seeing what is in that pricing engine and not how it relates to the full file, such as QM and other things like that. This is great. And then also being able to toggle between what does my best X look like and what does the static pricing look like. And from a branch manager perspective, that's huge because I'm in the loan with the LO in the loan and we're not in two separate systems trying to solve the same problem. So no, I would say no, it does not. It is not lacking anything that any other pricing engine has.
Thank you, Kara. And I would just add, I mentioned this at the very top of when we started, and that is this is not something that you have to sign a third-party agreement with. It's going to cost you additional dollars. So there's a cost benefit here, certainly by having the functionality that you need, but not having to have, one more vendor contract to manage. So go ahead, Crystal.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dan and Kara. So I'm going to go over, and next we're going to talk about underwriting. So to submit to underwriting, here you have the option to add in any applicable notes that you felt your underwriting team might need. Of course, you'd want to select your submission type. Now, this also allows you to upload any new documents that you might have into the system directly from this screen. And you could do so by clicking this button and searching through your selected items, or you could simply do a drag and drop into that blue square. And here you could see you could upload multiple documents all at once. You could remove anything maybe you didn't want in there. And it also gives you the option at this point if you wanted to add in class and subclass, and you could even add in any applicable notes regarding that document. Now this tab will allow you to send email notifications for your uploads if you wanted. And from there you would upload, submit to processing. And once you do that, the file is going to automatically flow into the underwriting queue. Now, the underwriting queue can be filtered by the production center, the loan type, and we've even built in a filter for day one certainty, so those would pop to the top of the queue as well. And your underwriter that is assigned to that file would be able to view that from the overview screen. Now, our underwriting data is set up with the idea of generating a transmittal. So the system takes a snapshot of the data and it holds it in a static version. So the underwriter knows that once they have underwritten a file, they could see exactly what it was at that time. And we've even built in a cool feature here, which is our hand back button. So if they do need to give controls back to the originator, they could simply click that button. And once the changes have been made, they would be able to view those changes from the details screen. So here you could see what the previous values were and what the current values are. And there's no need to do a stare and compare to see if anything changed. Only those values that have changed are going to populate on this screen. And one more item is the notes section. And we've all been there where we've added, urgent notes, just hoping that someone's going to go to the notes section and read it. If you have those urgent notes when you're adding in, your notes section is here, you can have the option of adding an attention for those specific notes. And what that does is it places those notes on the screens where those teams are working. So here you can see these were my demo notes, and I put attention to the funding and underwriting teams. So that's why you're seeing it on this screen. And Kara, did you want to give more insight on this section?
Yes. So a couple of really awesome things. As you saw, one, so much was able to do right here. It modeled out. I didn't have to go to a separate imaging system. So in some of the other ones I've worked at, unless you paid for some additional services, you had to go to the imaging system, which opened up a new screen. Then you had to do all your uploads. Then you had to go back. You had to find this screen again. So it is so wonderful to see both the side-by-side changes as an underwriter right there. It just pops up. I don't have to go to a separate screen. And then the same thing with the uploads. The other thing I love about this process is, again, the notes to underwriter. So often those get put in an imaging system. I can do it right here when the underwriter's working in the screen. She or he is seeing it right there, not having to remember and go back and forth. And then the hand back to the originator is a very cool tool. We've all been as underwriters in there where it's just one little change and the originator can't make it because it's in underwriting and it's been grayed out. So instead of having to send it back and it's got to go back in the queue, you can just hand it back to the originator. They make the change real quick and then you get it, and maybe it's now you can CTC it. So it's just a really wonderful functionality to kind of keep it with the underwriter. The originator makes the change they need to make for the one item or so that's remaining, and then you get it back. and get to finish out the file really quickly. So just really some really neat tools here for the underwriter that's very compact and condensed, that they can move around with less clicks, and it's more fluid even for the originators as well.
Absolutely. I'm going to pop into the loan data screen really quick. Now, this is going to be a detailed look at the loan data for the underwriters, and it provides a comprehensive information about what's happening in the file. So they could see the details on the product, borrower's information, property information, as well as the credit information. Now, if we go up over here on the right side, this is where it compares the lock data versus what was submitted for underwriting. And this is extremely useful for the underwriters to do a quick spot on any discrepancies. And it's a great way for the underwriters to be able to verify the lock details without having to switch between screens or pull up a separate PDF.
Yeah, I love this one, Crystal. Again, I use love too much. I'll find a new word, but I enjoy this one so much because it, being a former underwriter myself, you have to go back to the lock and check it, or you have to screenshot the lock, or you have to go print the lock profile itself. You all these tricks to put it on another screen to compare it to your loan and make sure that what you're underwriting is matching how they've locked it. And this is just a great feature, real quick, to compare what I'm underwriting the file to compared to the lock data. And it's saved some possible boo-boos that we might have had previously.
Absolutely. So I'm going to pop over to the conditions screen, and Kara, I'm going to use your word. What I love about the conditions screen is that they can add conditions right here in the system. So unlike other applications where you might have to go to a separate imaging system, it's all integrated here. So they can search and select their conditions. They can update the status and clear conditions all from the screen. And next,
yeah,
let's Oh, go
that
ahead,
is
Kara.
super. That is a wonderful feature. And in one of the prior ones I worked in, you had to go into the loan imaging system to see all of your conditions. Again, that popped up a new screen. It was just really cumbersome. So again, you're looking at your conditions while also seeing on the right-hand side all the information about your loan. It's just super helpful to have this right here within the LOS and not the imaging system.
Absolutely. And I'm going to show another screen that's very useful, which is our 1008 transmittal summary. Now, this screen autofills most of the data for your users. And here you can see the borrower's info, property info, mortgage and underwriting information as well. And at the bottom, there's a space for the underwriter to input their notes. Now, if I scroll up to the top, I want to point out this icon here. This double page icon, if you click on that, it's going to push your 1008 directly into the imaging system. So there's no need to do a manual download and upload separately. It's all integrated here.
And I will say that feature, I don't know if you'll touch on it, Crystal, so forgive me if I'm jumping ahead of you, but this feature that she's showing here where you can direct send it to the imaging system are in several places. Your QM overview screen, your TRID loan fee screen, your COC screen. It is wonderful. It means that I don't have to make that download and upload. I just click it and it goes into my imaging system and I don't have to worry about it. I really like this feature of Mortgage Machine.
That's an excellent point. Wherever you see this icon, like Kara said, it's throughout the system. So where we're going to go now is into our doc prep section. But before we dive into any of the pages here, I want to pause and talk about our rules engine. So here in red, you could see an example of a critical rule violation. And those are those stopgaps that are going to keep your file from moving forward to close until the issues are addressed. Now, warnings in orange are just that. They're warnings to draw the user's eye to the fields to ensure the information is as it should be for that particular file, but it doesn't keep it from moving forward to close. Now, to make it user-friendly, you could also see the fields below are color-coded. So which ones are applying to critical rule violations versus the warnings. But to make it even easier, if you notice, if I'm clicking on them, it's going to naturally just jump my cursor to the applicable item I'm wanting to work on. So I'm going to just go in and add in a piece of missing information for our user. And then once I add that and save the information, it's going to clear that information from there. And the next thing I want to talk about is our fees and conditions screen. Now, this is a great view. It's going to show your LE and your CD information in a side-by-side view right below this orange panel. Now, if you look to the left, here you could see this is where you can add new fees. You just need to add in the description, the amount, and who it's paid by and to. And once you submit that, that's going to also populate below that orange panel there. To the right, you can see we built in a TRID calendar, and that's going to show those key dates for your users. And then this link here, we built in a tolerance test. Now, a tolerance test is also available on the condition screen, but here it's going to allow them to run it, and it's going to pull up an itemized list of all their fees, and it's going to total any overages. If I had any, it'll itemize it in this right column and then total it under each section there. And again, here's that side panel allowing the user to see these high-level data points of the loan without having to flip back and forth between screens.
And this is such a game changer for your closers. Unless you had bolt-ons added on, a lot of times you don't get that tolerance test. So this is a great tool for them to quickly see if there's going to be a cure and get that information to the loan originator, as well as get it on their CD. This is a really good side-by-side between the LE and the CD as well. Now, again, it's the last LE, so they still have to check that tolerance test, but it's a real good look through to see kind of what's going on. It's great for the loan originators as well, because they can see more quickly if they're going to have a cure tolerance. So this is a great screen to use for both the loan officers, processors, really, and your closers.
Absolutely. The next screen I want to go into is our impound screen.
And while that's coming up, I don't know if you guys are noticing, but she's quickly able to go to those doc order pages up there. She's not having to go find a new screen, scrolling through. She's not even having to drop down those top banners. So as a closer, I've done closing in Mortgage Machine as well, and I love that feature, being able to pop back and forth, and that banner is on there all of the time. So super convenient way to move through for closing packages.
So true. Absolutely. Now on this screen at the top, this is where you can manage your impounds for your hazard insurance and your property taxes. And you could input your city and county taxes and other impounds as necessary. Now, if I scroll down to the bottom on this left section here, this is where it allows you to easily compare your hazard insurance coverage against the loan amount. So if the loan amount changes, you'll be able to quickly spot if the insurance coverage becomes insufficient. And then the same would apply for flood insurance on the right, if that was applicable as well.
Yeah, and I've used this screen a bunch, even with post-closing steps, which means we might have boo-booed, but you've been using it for that because it's just a real quick, what did we do wrong, or maybe what do we need? I mean, your closers are obviously still going to look at the pages, the binders and the deck and all of that, just to make sure it has everything. But this is, especially when you're moving into some ICD or just some general questioning, this is a great way to just jump in real quick and see if the loan has the coverage it needs.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a look at one more section from here, which is dates and conditions. And this is where the closer can see the prior to funding conditions, as well as when we scroll down to the bottom, this is where they can add in any special instructions to the settlement agent. Next, we're going to go into our interface, and we're going to touch on our integration with DocMagic. So if you're wanting to order any of your document packages, you could do so by selecting the document package from the drop-down menu, anywhere from the initial disclosures, redisclosures, all the way through your closing. Now, if you're ready to go to closing and order that package, you might want to run the audit first. So to do so, you would select that and then choose your option on the right here to audit, and then you would submit. Now, once that's processed, you'll get a success status, and it'll let you know that a copy of that report is automatically uploaded into imaging, and this PDF icon will allow you to view that report directly from this screen. And then once you're ready to order your closing package, you have the option to select if you want it to close via RON. And you could also, of course, add your e-signatures. And then you have an option to add in your e-note as part of that package. And again, it's as simple as that. All you do is click submit. Once it's processed, again, you'll see that success status. A copy of the package is automatically uploaded to Imaging, and you could view that copy directly from the screen by clicking on that PDF icon. Now, if you wanted to maybe track the signer's progress of that package, you could do so from within Mortgage Machine on the e-sign screen. Now, if you've sent multiple packages, you could choose which one you're wanting to look at by that drop-down menu. And this top section is going to give you a summary of what that package is. So you could see the package type, the status, and to the right, it'll show you the number of documents that have been completed versus those that have not been completed. Below that, under your participant information, this will allow you to resend those e-signing room meeting links directly from Mortgage Machine to the signers if needed. And below that, you'll see your documents and the signatures. Now, those signatures that have been applied are going to show in green. Those that are still pending will show in red. Now, once all applicable signatures have been applied to any one document, it's automatically uploaded to Imaging, and you can see the date and time that that occurred. So both signatures have been applied. That's why you see those dates. This one's still pending, so that document has not been uploaded yet. But for whatever reason, if you needed it to be pushed into the document management system, you could simply do a manual push by selecting that document and selecting to push it into the Imaging system. Below that, we're going to go past the document into the event log. Now, this is going to show you all events that happened in that e-sign room, from the initial invitations being sent to consent being given, and then the individual signatures being applied from here.
So this screen is amazing. I have used it for so many different functions. So what she's showing right now, the event log, you'll get the question in compliance. Well, the borrower didn't sign the CD, but can I start the 3-day? You pop in here, you go, yeah, they've already signed it. Go for it. I mean, you have the mail rule too, but usually you want to start it before the mail rule. So you can go in here, and even though they haven't signed it, you can see that they've received it. And once they've received it, you're 3 days. So from a compliance perspective, I love this. In my prior lives with other systems, when you want to see how a borrower is progressing, you have to log into the portal that they are obtaining their documents to see if they've signed everything. And loan officers, same thing. If they want to make sure they've signed everything before the closing that they can, they've got to sign into something else. It's right here. Really easy to see, so they can contact their borrower and say, hey, I need you to go in and sign these last 2 things ahead of your closing so we can get you funded the moment you get those closing docs finalized at the settlement agent. So there's just so many uses for this. This from initial disclosure, redisclosure, not just closing, this is everything. So it has been super helpful for us here at Click and Close to use this screen, again, from loan officer to compliance to our disclosure desk and our closers. This is so wonderful to have it inside the LOS.
Absolutely. And now another screen I want to go over, as we talked about, is our activity history. Now, this acts like the audit log for your file. So here on the top, you could see the access history. This is going to show anyone that's accessed the file, whether they modified it or not. It'll show the date and time of the first access, the last access, and the number of pages viewed. Below that, you're going to see the edit history. So it'll show you the date and time, page name, username, the field name, and the field value that was added or modified.
So Crystal, I'm gonna get real with everyone if I can for just a minute. So as an executive at Click and Close, I've seen lots of things, but I'm sure most of you on the call have had somebody go, I don't know what happened, but this, and you can jump into this activity history and you can go, well, ma'am, on this date, you changed it and that's what happened. And then you didn't tell anybody for past 3 days, and now we can't disclose. It's also helpful for the good stuff, but at least at my level, you're usually battling all of the he said, she said. So this has been so good to see it. But then other times it's good, even from a compliance, we use this a lot to go, when did things get triggered? Do I still have time? And be able to talk through a lot of the files and really solve some problems. So, I mean, I got real at the beginning, but it is helpful even for the good side of life.
Absolutely. So we're going to head back to our home page. Now, when I was here earlier, I don't know if you noticed this icon here. This is Click and File, and it's our own proprietary document management system that's powered by AI. So if you're already in a file within Mortgage Machine, which I am, you could simply click on that link. If you haven't logged in for the day, it's going to ask you to do that. Now, here on the left, you could see the loan profile with all the documents indexed. And it'll display each document file name, the date and time of the upload. It will show you the page count. Now this double square here is going to signify that that particular document has multiple versions. Now if we go across the screen under properties and scroll down, I also want to note now the properties section, it's document level. So as I click through documents, this information would update as well. And this is where you're going to find your versioning. Now, the most recent version will be your default view as well as your batch export. But if you needed to look at the historicals, it's very simple from here, just to click on that previous link and it'll display what the previous version of that document looked like. Now, if we look center screen, we know it happens from time to time where documents are uploaded sideways or upside down. It's very easy from here for the users to go ahead and fix those rotation errors and save them. Now, if we look over on the left side, you're going to see this page preview feature, and this allows you to manually reorder or split your documents. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that and give you a quick preview. And what you can do here, you can downsize that. It's going to show your document at a larger view if you need that. And I could also expand here and it's going to show my thumbnails larger. Now this little bar here actually allows you to choose how many thumbnails you see in one view to make it more efficient for you. So this feature here, if I wanted to just reorder, I could do so by switching those pages and clicking my save, and I've now reordered it. It's as simple as that. Now, if I wanted to split it, I could simply select the documents in the order I want them split, or I could even just do a range. Say I want the first 3 pages split out. I could simply select those and then do my split action. So it's extremely user friendly. And another features I want to talk about is our AI features that I think they're amazing, especially in regard to improving the efficiency and the user's experience. So we're going to start with talking about smart docs. And smart docs are standardized electronic documents that enhance the security through encryption and tamper prevention features. And because this automates the data transfer and validation, it also reduces errors and it'll speed up your closing turn times. And Dan, did you want to talk more about smart docs?
Yeah, just I wanted to mention that at the very top, I mentioned in my overview that we had our own documents, and we do. We're in the process of completing the build on those, and here's the key. Here's what's extremely different to our knowledge. There's not anyone that has what I'm about to tell you, but if you've ever produced an e-note or you know anyone that has, you know that an e-note is a category 1 smart note, and you can't, it's just not a PDF that you fill in the blanks. The note, an electronic note, comes from the data set. Okay, well, so you have to have a category 1 smart note to produce an electronic note. Well, we're producing our entire document library, whether that's closing documents, the front end disclosures, whatever it is, they're all going to be smart, which will absolutely 100% cut down on the errors. And we're working closely with MISMO to get this approved across 50, all products, 50 states. It's extremely exciting. And over the next few years, we anticipate that this is going to be significant. It's sort of blockchain on steroids, if you will, when it comes to this industry. So this is something of value. And in addition to that, it goes back to what we talked about with the pricing and so forth. It's built into the system. Today, DocMagic would be an excellent choice for you. Certainly, if you're a customer, that's excellent. But we also we do have our own docs that are in process of being rolled out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So like Dan mentioned, Click and File will natively support Smart Docs. The system will read the code and display the PDF of the document while still holding the code on the back. And that'll give you the option when you're exporting. You could do so in the XML version or in the PDF version. So I'm going to upload a Smart Doc really quick just so you could see what that looks like. Let me pull up one of my demo files. Now, the only fields that are required have the asterisk. So just the stage, the class, and the subclass. And I'm going to do a quick LE upload. So let me grab my file. And now that I've attached it, you could see the file name, and I'm going to open it up so you could see what it looks like before it's uploaded. So here you could see it's fully coded in that XML version all the way through. And we'll go ahead and upload that. And it's that quick. It's uploaded the document, it's read the code, and now it's displaying the PDF version here center screen. And again, you could choose to export it in this PDF version or in the XML version. Now, in addition, we have an AI split and indexing feature, and this is where you can upload a document and the AI feature will automatically find the class and subclass and put the document into the correct folder. And I do want to note that this feature can split files up to 1,000 pages in a single upload. So say you have that 1,000-page upload with a couple hundred different documents merged together, you would just load it up. The AI feature will be able to identify where the delineation is of those different documents, splitting them up and classifying them into the correct folder. And I'm going to show you really quick what an AI split file would look like. So here on the left, you could see the loan profile again with all the documents indexed. Now this file was the original file. It was a 114-page skinny package with all the documents merged together. Now, if you look over to the right under properties, if a file was analyzed and split by AI, it will have these AI properties listed. So here it'll show the date and time that it analyzed and split, but it also gives you this tooltip, and this tooltip is going to show you how the AI indexed that merged file. It'll break down all 114 pages. It'll show you the stage, class, and subclass it put each document into. Now, each document file name has a hot link, so I could simply click on it. It'll jump me directly to that document. And any document that was split from AI will also have the AI properties listed. So again, you'll see the date and time that it was analyzed, and it will also have that tooltip. And that tooltip is going to give you a link back to the original file that that document was split from. So in case you have multiple files that were uploaded and split, you'll always be able to find your way back to the original file that that particular document came from. I'll pause for a second.
Kara, does this save time?
Yeah, the biggest savers on this is one, if you have a wholesale division, your brokers or your mini cores usually give you a big bulk at one time. And if you're in correspondent, quite frankly, we have a correspondent division as well that uses this. They'll get 500 pages at a time, and it breaks that out for them, which is very nice. The other option is on closing, when you get that package back from title, you don't have to split it. So it used to be that we would put it in a closing. So it'd be all 100 pages, it felt like, from them. And then we would have to break it out additionally for our post closers to be able to send those to the investor or aggregator. In this instance, it'll split it for them and we can move to the next step, which saves a lot of time when you're trying to get that loan into post-closing and to your shippers to get it out. So it saves some time. It actually gets you to purchase it, get the investor to purchase it faster and get the steps cleared. So it is very helpful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kara. So I actually want to finish up with talking about some of the reporting that's in Mortgage Machine. And we'll start with those reports that you could build in the system. Now, Mortgage Machine does come with a library of stock reports, but each user can create their own custom report. And to do so, they can just click on this link, of course, give it a name, but then they have this full data set to choose from. And I'll let the team correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's something like 98% of all fields in Mortgage Machine are reportable. And from there, they could create a report, and it'll take them to a detail screen where they could finish building their report. So they can add in a description, giving more information as to the purpose of what that report is for. They can select or deselect what they want to display on the report. And then from there, they could select the fields that they're wanting to report off of. And once they've done that, they have an option to reorder them. And then they also have the option to set up a pre-sort. So if they want it maybe to pre-sort by department and then by user, you could set that up here. So every time you run the report, it's automatically going to sort it for you. And then below that is just the filter criteria. So this particular report is looking at VA funded loans in the last 30 days that are missing the VA income in that field. So all I needed to do is pull over my fields and note that I'm looking for a VA mortgage type with 0 gross income that's funded in the last today minus 30 for that 30-day look back. And that's it. From there, I'll view my report, and it also places it in my personal library. Now, based off of the permissions you give your user, they could have the ability to share this report with a team member, with a department, or even company-wide. And again, it's based off of those permissions, but it helps alleviate the need of recreating the wheel for reports that have already been done. Kara, I was going to pause. You want to talk anything about this section?
I did.
Yeah.
I took myself off mute. I was like, don't go anywhere. I could spend the next 8 minutes talking about this, but I won't. This is such a, I cannot tell you how much I use this. And I've been at prior companies where we had to have Power BI or Tableau or any other flavor in order to really get good reports, because the reporting was just too cumbersome. And that's an additional expense. Now, I'm not saying you might not find need for Tableau or Power BI if you use it. We have Tableau here and use it for some other things. But just for generalities, when I'm getting in and doing something like this, I love their reporting functionality. And that reorder, I don't know if you've ever used the other ones, but you have to go, okay, I want this one, and then up and up and up and up. And you have to keep just moving it up to get it where you want it. And it's frustrating. Here, if she wanted to move 4 to number 2, she would just put 1.2. And then she says process and reorder, and that's it. It moves it. So much better than having to move that thing manually up as you go. I use reporting a bunch. I did as an individual user, I did as a manager, and I definitely do as an executive. And I used it in all facets when we were in compliance, of course, for our state exams and some other things, but post-closing uses it, your closers use it. I mean, it's just phenomenal to quickly get to data that you want. And again, I've used it not just for state exams, I've used it for analysis. You know, I've wanted to know what's going on in my underwriting team. I've wanted to know what's going on in my closing team. What's going on with these loans? Why are we struggling with EPDs or EPOs? So I'm pulling reports. It's just a fantastic tool where you don't have to bolt on Tableau or Power BI. Again, there's reasons to have Tableau and Power BI, but being able to use this within your LOS and for as easy as it is, I just really cannot speak highly enough of this reporting tool.
Awesome. Now, Carrie, you mentioned Tableau, so I'm going to go ahead and pop over there. Now, I don't know about you, Kara, but I'm a big dashboard person. I love going in and slicing and dicing my data. So I'm just going to show just a couple dashboards that might be of interest for some of the users. So this is a funded overview. It allows you to look at any cross section of funded dates. You could choose to look at count versus volume, any subsection of your production or departments, as well as your products. And if you're not a big pie chart person, you could simply click to look at it in a list view or even on a geographical map. And the dashboards are drillable. So if you wanted to look at any cross section, it will give you, I got a squirrely mouse. It'll give you this hot link that'll break down that subsection of data that you checked. A couple more views that might be of interest would be looking at your production center breakout by purchases or refinance, or even efficiency reports, looking at maybe your average touches and conditions per file broken down by the different departments as well. So that's just a quick sneak peek of some of the options you could do with Tableau within Mortgage Machine. And Dan, I'm going to hand it to you from here.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you very much. You probably take a deep breath. You did a good job. Kara, so if we step back and we look at this, my final question to you is, um, you've been a user of Mortgage Machine in the various categories that you just mentioned. Um, do you feel like that there is a significant or average or just sort of so-so pickup in the efficiencies compared to what you used before as a whole? Do you feel like that it's a more efficient system now that you've used it in all those different areas you have?
Yes, I do. No system is perfect. I mean, we're all going to find little things that we wish we had. But I will say Mortgage Machine does a great job of taking those enhancement requests and building upon it. But I will say the time savings, especially as I mentioned earlier, the way you can move around in the system, far more efficient than the big two that I've used in the past. It's just it is. I just hands down cannot tell you how nice it is to be able to star those, to be able to drop down and look at it from a tab at the top rather than scrolling to find my screen. As she showed earlier, clicking through, my notes are there, the notes that people have told me and the team, that they're right there at the top of the screen. That creates efficiency because I don't have to keep going to the imaging system to find those notes. I mean, I definitely would say it, from the functionality standpoint, it is definitely more efficient. And then in addition, we find that moving between screens is also faster. And then in my prior life, sometimes ordering initial disclosures could take 45 minutes at some points. So this one, I've never had it go more than a minute. So it's just, there's so much efficiency behind the system, less keystrokes. And that's not just in one area. It's not like I'm talking about just underwriting. There's less keystrokes, you know, really from the start to the finish. There's definitely less keystrokes. So yes, I do believe there is efficiency pickup for certain. And it's out of the box. Dan, I don't have to bolt on anything. I have been able to make the other systems more efficient in my prior lives. Yes, they were efficient, but I had to pay a lot of dollars to have admin and bolt-on tools that I then paid for annually to get close to where we are in Mortgage Machine, the use of Mortgage Machine. So what I love is that it's efficient out of the box. For sure.
So that's great information, Karen. I hope the folks listening will take heed of that. The other cool thing that I would say is that you don't have to have a whole staff of admins to manage this. It's not just on the what you saw today. It's behind the scenes as well, and it's very much designed to be customer friendly, as she said, out of the box and efficient. Would you put up our contact information, Crystal? I would encourage anyone that if we've intrigued you at all, we'd love to talk to you. We'll be happy to do a deeper dive into it. You can certainly email me with any questions that you have, or if you want to have additional conversation. But thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And a big thanks to you, Kara. I know you have a day job. Thank you for joining us and giving your personal testimonials as to the use of Mortgage Machine. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us, and y'all have a great day. So long.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.